السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. Welcome again to Network.pt. Today we're looking at a DARS target number, Jim. We're still looking at the concept of Nukira and Ma'rifa, and we are looking at Ma'rifa from the perspective of pronouns. And we are still discussing the concept of محل الرفع والنصب والجر in regard or regarding pronouns. So there are some pronouns ما هو مشترك بين محل الرفع والنصب والجر. So there are some pronouns in Arabic they share in the concept or the context of محل الرفع when they are marfu in the forms of mahalli, that's they are in the state of rafi, or they are in the state of nasbi, or they are acting in the position of al-jir. And today we're looking at these domair. Now, according to the writer, domir wahid, there's only one domir in Arabic that serves in mahal rafi, mahal nasbi, and mahal jir. And this is domir wahid, na. Remember, na as it's a plural, right? It can be we, it can be us. Yeah, na can be we, and then it can be us, and then it can be our, right? All right. Because if you use the na with, let's say, indana, it means we have. So the na becomes we, isn't it? Good. If you use the na with a preposition like ma'ana, then with us. So the na here is what? Us. If you use the na with, let's say, kitab, it's going to be kitabuna. Then we're going to have our book. So you see how the domir na changes. It can be it can be we, it can be us, it can be our. Now you can see that in the first instance, the domir na is being used with a helping verb. This is a helping verb. And then this is a preposition. And this is a noun. Very, very important. And then it can also be as when you use it against a transitive verb, like daraba, right? Darabana. Darabana abuna, right? Darabana. So you can say he beat us. So you can see that the na here is na, is us. So the na is a damir that can act في محل الرفع, في محل النصب, في محل الجر. Right? As I've indicated in the example, في محل الرفع, you can say kitabuna. Let me give a very beautiful different examples. I don't think kitabuna is the right. Let's look at some of the example. في محل الرفع, let's say ربنا. But ربنا can be also في محل الجر as مضاف إليه. And then في محل النصب, it can also be the object of in. And then في محل الجر, it can also be the accusative form of a preposition. So with that, let's look at examples that the book offers. الأمثلة قوله تعالى ربنا إننا سمعنا, سورة آل عمران. ربنا, we have the na, إننا سمعنا. Now you can see that سمعنا here is subjective, and then you remember in. So therefore the na becomes ismu inna, and ismu inna is mansub, right? And then rabbana, rabb. So this is a noun. So therefore, if you have a preposition that is inseparable attaching to a noun, it's more likely to be fi mahalli jar mudaf ilayh, or it can be mubtada wa khabar, which is marfu. So let's discuss it. But here, based on the ayah, it's mudaf ilayh, rabbana. ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل جر مضاف إليه, like I said. إننا, إن, remember إن. So إن, we're going to have اسم إن, and then خبر إن. اسم إن is منصوب, and خبر إن is مرفوع. So we have نا ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل النصب اسم إن. سمعنا, سمع, right? سمع. So سمع, we hear. So the we here, سمعنا here, we have heard, or we heard. So we is subjective. So therefore this na is going to be في محل رفع فاعل. So we say ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل رفع فاعل. Very, very important. So let's move on to the next example. قال تعالى ربنا إننا آمنا. So basically you can see that ربنا إننا سمعنا, ربنا إننا آمنا, they look similar. It's just that here is آمنا. ربنا إننا سمعنا آمنا. So you can see that we are basically looking at the same رب. ضميرنا متصل, ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل جر مضاف إليه. إننا نا ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل النصب اسم إن. آمنا ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل رفع فاعل. So basically the i'rab of the one and example 1 and 2 is the same. It's just that we have the verb آمنا and سمعنا, being the difference, or being the different variables. Let's look at example 3. قال تعالى ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا. Now ربنا again, رب, this is ism, so the na is going to be مضاف مضاف إليه. It's always all the time. لا تؤاخذنا, لا تؤاخذنا, أخذ. So here we're going to have na here as مفعول به. So مفعول به is always mansub. إن نسينا. So this na is going to be, excuse me, is going to be a file. So file is also marfu. So let's check it out. ربنا نا ضمير متصل على مبني على السكون في محل جر مضاف إليه. تؤاخذنا نا ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل النصب مفعول به. Like I said, because لا تؤاخذنا, right? لا تؤاخذنا, أخذ, to see, or أخذ, to get. But here, أخذ means to punish, right? أخذ is to punish or to penalize. Penalize. It's called لا تؤاخذنا. Don't punish us, or don't take us into account, or don't hold us accountable, right? Don't hold us accountable. لا تؤاخذنا, when we forget. All right, let's look at والفاعل ضمير مستتر تقديره أنت, right? The فاعل in لا تؤاخذنا is ضمير مستتر تقديره أنت. نسينا نا ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل رفع فاعل, because this is from the word نسيا. So نسينا, we forgot or we have forgotten. So this na is what? We. ربنا, our Lord. لا تؤاخذنا, us. We. So as we discussed earlier, the domir na in Arabic can be our, as, and we, depending on how you use it. ربنا, our Lord. لا تؤاخذنا, us. نسينا, we. So it takes all the forms: subjective, objective, and then possessive. So that is it for the domir that can serve in the context of محل الرفع, محل النصب, and then محل الجر. And that domir is one domir, which is na. Let's look at domir munfasil. Domir munfasil is separable. We call them separable pronouns. Separable. Separable pronouns. So as we have come to know, in Arabic, we have inseparable pronouns, which we've discussed earlier. And now we are discussing what? Separable pronouns. Now, inseparable pronouns tend to be suffixes, right? Suffixes. We attach them to the end, and then separable pronouns tend to be prefixes. They are prefixes that is used. They are always at the beginning, and they are written separately too, right? So you can say separate prefixes. They are not attached. So what is the definition of ضمير منفصل? هو ما يبتدأ به الكلام ويقع بعد إلا. This is very important. In the ما يبتدأ به الكلام ويقع بعد إلا, it's any pronoun that is used or that can introduce or can be used to introduce a kalam, a statement. ويقع, and it appears or it comes بعد إلا. That is to say, you can use it after إلا. But if the domir is domir muttasil, you cannot use it after إلا. That is to say, it can come after إلا. Like na, for instance, you can say إلا na, but you can say إلا نحن. إلا إيه? نحن. So this نحن is domir munfasil, is separable. So all separable pronouns can be used after إلا, or can be used after what? Exceptive particle. Exceptive particle. It can be used after exceptive particles. We have ada, illa, hasha, ghayra, and then on and on. But the popular is the illa. So, who are there? What are they? When we say domir munfasil, what are they? Separable pronouns, what are they? Nahwu, we have example like ana, I, anta, you, huwa, he, iyaya. Iyaya means me. We're going to talk about iya. Iya. The pronoun is iya. So iya plus na, ya, it becomes iyaya. Iyaka. Iya. So these are all ضمائر منفصل, but they are used in the position of مفعول به. We're going to talk about them. They are always in the state of مفعول به. إياه. هذه الضمائر ونحوها, these pronouns and their likes or examples, يصح أن يبتدأ بها الكلام. it's appropriate in Arabic for them to be used in the introductory part of a statement, or they can be used alone at the beginning of a statement. That is where they have to be. وَلَا يَصِحُّ, and it is not appropriate grammatically أن تقع بعد إلا. أن تقع بعد إلا. They are not supposed to come or appear after the acceptive particle إلا. Very, very important. يبدأ بها نحو. Now, it is used to start a sentence or kalam like, look at it. أنا يوسف. قوله تعالى. أنا يوسف. I am Yusuf. I am Yusuf. So you can see I am Yusuf. وقوله تعالى إياك نعبد. سورة الفاتحة. وتقع بعد إلا. Right? يبدأ بها الكلام. That's the first خصائص. وتقع بعد إلا. It can appear after إلا. So any pronoun that can appear or come after إلا, or the acceptive particle, is considered what? ضمير منفصل. قوله تعالى وما يعلم جنود ربك إلا هو. إلا هو. But we say وما يعلم if you are ending. وما يعلم جنود ربك إلا هو. إلا هو. But we say إلا هو. So the هو is a ضمير. So by appearing here after إلا, we can say for sure that it is ضمير منفصل, is a separable pronoun. سورة المدثر. Let's look at this one. أمر ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه. سورة يوسف. So the definition of ضمير منفصل is ضمير that it use ضمير used in starting a sentence, and then it can also appear after إلا. ضمير متصل cannot appear after إلا. Now let's look at the إعراب. موقعه من الإعراب. So how do we treat ضمير منفصل in إعراب? So here ينقسم الضمير المنفصل بحسب موقعه من الإعراب إلى القسمين. ضمير separable pronouns, right, have two categories or types based on its position in the إعراب, right? بحسب موقعه من الإعراب. So let's look at the first one, type 1, right? Let's look at the حالة الأولى. ما يختص بمحل الرفع. So we have ضمير منفصل. They are specifically designed, or they specifically act, or they are only applicable in the context of محل الرفع. So that is to say, they are always acting like marfu'at. And then remember, in Arabic, you can be a file to be marfu, or you can be ismu kana to be marfu, or you can be mubtada to be marfu, and on and on and on. And how many do we have? We have إثنا عشر ضميرا. We have 12 ضمائر. إثنا عشر ضميرا. Right? We have 12 pronouns. So 12 pronouns in Arabic act as marfu. And these are أنا, نحن, أنت, أنت, أنتما, أنتم, أنتن, هو, هي, هما, هم, and هن. These are 12. And they are all في محل رفع. And again, they all start كلمات like أنا يوسف. أنا يوسف. أنا is ضمير منفصل في محل الرفع مبتدأ. يوسف خبر مبتدأ مرفوع. أنا يوسف. So these are, so let's look at الضمائر لا تقع إلا في محل الرفع. هذه الضمائر, these pronouns, لا تقع, they don't appear, they don't occur, they don't come إلا في محل الرفع, except in the what? Situation of رفع. They are always مرفوع. And remember, like I said, there are so many ways in Arabic where we can have a noun or a preposition as مرفوع. For instance, أنا يوسف. I am Yusuf. أنا. So, very, very important. How do you do the إعراب? أنا ضمير منفصل مبني على السكون في محل الرفع مبتدأ. It's مبتدأ. Remember, all مبتدأ in Arabic are مرفوع. Right? Any مبتدأ is مرفوع. But here we don't see the علامة الرفع, right? We don't see the علامة الرفع أنا Yusuf. We don't see the علامة الرفع on أنا. Because علامة الرفع is dhamma, right? But here we don't see dhamma. We see أنا. And this is مبني على السكون. أنا is مبني على السكون. Why is it مبني على السكون? Because of the alif. The alif at the end is sukun, أنا. But it's not مبني على الفتحة. It's not that fatha. Because there's alif mad at the end of it. So all maddi to all maddi, whether it's wa or ya or alif, they tend to have sukun on it. If you say boo, if you say kalami, or if you say ana, it's all sukun. So Yusuf, so if ana is fi mahal raf'i mubtada, if you have a mubtada, you need to get the khabar. So what is the khabar? The khabar is Yusuf. And as we can see, Yusuf is also what? Marfu'un bidam. Now, why is it not Yusufun? Because Yusuf is mamnu min as-sarf. It's mamnu min as-sarf. So it has to have one dhamma. Or we can say ana Yusufun. But if it is, let's say, Muhammadun, we say ana Muhammadun. But Yusufu, because Yusuf is mamnu min as-sarf. So أنا يوسف. So اسم خبر مبتدأ مرفوع بالضم. قال تعالى نحن أعلم بما يقولون. نحن أعلم بما يقولون. Look at the word نحن. It's starting the sentence and it's standing alone. So this is an indicator or indicators of what? ضمير المنفصل. ضمير منفصل مبني ضمير منفصل مبني على الضم, right? مبني على الضم. نحن. Remember we said مبني is a static nature of a verb. نحن ضمير منفصل مبني على الضم في محل الرفع مبتدأ. And where is the خبر? أعلم بما يقولون. So the statement أعلم بما يقولون serves as خبر مبتدأ. قال تعالى وما يعلم جنود ربك إلا هو. So how do you do the إعراب of إلا هو? But look at it very carefully. وما يعلم جنود ربك إلا هو. So ضمير منفصل مبني على الفتحة في محل رفع. Why is it في محل رفع? Because it's linking this هو is basically is the one being talked about here. وما يعلم. Nobody knows the soldiers of your Lord or the angels of your Lord except him. So who has the knowledge? It's him. هو. So it's fine. So الضمير منفصل مبني على الفتح في محل رفع فاعل. So it's a subject. It's not an object. So let's move on. The second category of ضمير منفصل is ما يختص بمحل النصب. These are separable pronouns that are applicable or they are used specifically in mahal nasb, that is in accusative situation or nasab situation. And also, the writer is saying domir wahid. We only have just one domir, and that domir is iya. 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 So this is always in mahal nasab. Remember, in Arabic, when you are nasab, it means you are basically objective, right? You are the object. You are the object. Or in the accusative situation. Or you can be in the form of um, jar indirectly. But here we're looking at direct nasb. And the domir for that is iya. So if you say iyaka, the iya is a domir. But in Arabic, he is saying تلحقه حروف للدلالة على تقلم. So iya as a domir can be attached with a harf. So here we say iya plus harf. Iya plus harf. Now you think that it's going to be iya plus domir, right? But if you attach iya with iyaya, for instance, the domir is the iya, and then the harf is the ya. But if I say ismi, look at that. If I say ismi, this ya is domir, but it's domir what? It's domir muttasil. It's domir muttasil. So it's not considered as harf. So this is very, very important. So all the supposedly doma'ir that is attached to iya, they are not considered domir in grammar, but rather they are considered huruf لدلالة على المتكلم, for indication, right? على التكلم, first person, right? The person talking. والخطاب, the second person. والغيبة, the third person. Because in Arabic, we have ya, the person talking, and then al-khitab is the person being talked to, second person. So للمتكلم, first person, we say iyaya, iyana, I. So iyaya is me, and then iyana is us. Remember, iyaya you can say because it's a nasb, so it can be it's a nasb. So nasb is an object. So object is me and us. Lil mukhatab. So this is the first person, and then the second person pronoun, and this is the third person pronoun. Lil ghaib. That's the person who's not there, the absent. So iyaka. That's why we say iyaka na'budu. The person you are talking to, we say iyaka na'budu. We worship only you or thee. Iyaki, the woman. Iyakuma. Iyakum, iyakunna. It's very interesting, isn't it? You may think that we can say, oh, we have two doma'ir, right? Ha and iya. But here, because iya is damiru munfasil, the ka is considered what? Harf. And is the harf that indicates the nature of the domir, whether it's a first person or a second person. Look at the guide. Iyahu, iyaha, iyahuma, iyahum, iyahunna. Remember, when you use iya, it's always in the objective case. You cannot use iya in subjective case. Meaning, when you use iya, the implication is that the action of a verb in the sentence is falling on the iya. That is why we say iyaka na'budu. We worship only you. Iyaka. So what is a domir? Iya. the ka is harf. But in another instance, the ka is considered damir when it is damir mutasil. So this is where you have to be very particular and very careful when you're analyzing iya. Consider the huruf attaching to the iya as harf, not damair. The damir is the iya. So we just use ka, ki, kuma, kum, kunna, hu, ha, huma, hum, hunna, ya, wana to just give indication of the actual function of the damir. The ya is given as the function that it is I. Iyana is given as something that is us. But the damir itself is iya. Very, very important. Let's note that. So let's look at amthila. قال تعالى إياك نعبد. So how do you do the إعراب؟ إياك إيا ضمير منفصل مبني على السكون في محل النصب مفعول به المقدم. See, مفعول به المقدم. So مفعول به that has been brought forward. مقدم. مفعول به مقدم. Because we know that مفعول به is always at the tail end of a sentence, right? Like, or say ضربت أحمد, right? ضربت أحمد. ضربت أحمد. So this is مفعول به. But if you say أحمد ضربت, then this is مفعول به مقدم. المقدم is something that has been advanced or has been brought forward. It's from the word قدم يقدم مقدم مقدم. أحمد ضربت أحمد. But if you say أحمد ضربت, then أحمد becomes مفعول به مقدم and ضربت becomes فعل وفاعل. So let's look at إياك كاف. How harf? Look at that. كاف is harf. But in another instance, it becomes ضمير متصل. But in the context of إيا, it's a harf. Very, very important. وكاف حرف للدلالة على الخطاب مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب. This is very interesting. لا محل له من, that is to say, it has no place or position or analytical power or function in Arabic parsing. That's i'rab. It has no, that means you don't have to worry about it. We cannot say it is maf'ul bihi. We cannot say it's fa'il. We cannot say it's this or that. لا محل له من الإعراب. Isn't this very interesting? But when we are discussing ضمير متصل, the kaf is a ضمير. But when you are discussing ضمير منفصل with regard to iya, then any ضمير that attached to iya is لا محل له من الإعراب. So we are not looking at double preposition here. No. This is what we need to know today, inshallah. Now let's look at وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. إيا ضمير منفصل مبني على السكون في محل النصب مفعول به والفاء حرف للدلالة على الغيبة. الدلالة على الغيبة means it's an indicator. It's a حرف indicating what? غيبة. الغيبة means a third person pronoun or a third person or somebody who's not here, an absentee. مبني على الضم, it has ضمة هو لا محل له من الإعراب. This expression is very important. If something has no grammatical passing ability or attribute, then we say la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. Because we cannot say it is fa'il, we cannot say it is maf'ul bihi, we cannot say it's mudaf ilayh, we cannot say it's mudaf, we cannot say it's mubtada, we cannot say it's khabar, we cannot say it's ismu majroor. So therefore, the only thing that we can say is to say la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. Now, and this is maf'ul bihi. Now here he didn't say maf'ul bihi muqaddam. You need to know that. Why? Because it's not advanced. The maf'ul bihi illa iyahu. Iya is fi mahal nas maf'ul bihi, and it is at the end. So it is where it's supposed to be. It is where it's supposed to be. So we have to leave it like that. But if it is brought forward like iyyaka na'budu, then we have to say maf'ul bihi muqaddam. Maf'ul bihi is always mu'akhar, right? However, when it is brought forward, we need to mention it in the i'rab that it's maf'ul bihi advanced or maf'ul bihi muqaddam. قال تعالى يخرجون الرسول وإياكم. Look at that. يخرجون الرسول وإياكم. They eject the Rasul and you. So إياكم. So the kum here is not an it's just an indicator. This kum is lidalala. It's an indicator, right? So without the kum, we may not know the meaning of iya, which is very important. Always. Without the harf, iya and its harf. Without the harf, we may not get, or we will not understand the iya. So the harf kum help us. It helps us to get there. If I say iyaka, if I say iya, what does it mean? Nothing. But when I say ka, then it makes you understand what the iya means. So iyakum is an indicator. And all harf with iya are what? Dalala. They are all indicators. إياكم إيا ضمير منفصل مبني على السكون في محل النصب معطوف. And here is معطوف, right? It's something that has been added to the conjunction. It's a brother of the conjunction. It's معطوف. It's a sibling of the conjunction. Because يخرجون الرسول و حرف العطف. So the إيا becomes معطوف على إيه؟ على الرسول. وكم حرف الدلالة على الخطاب لا محل له من الإعراب. قال تعالى وإنا أو إياكم لعلى هدى أو في ضلال مبين. Now look at وإنا أو إياكم. إياكم إيا ضمير مبني على السكون في محل النصب معطوف على إيه؟ اسم إن وكم حرف الدلالة على خطاب لا محل له من الإعراب. Again. So it's always حرف للدلالة على الخطاب. And then we have حرف للدلالة على إيه؟ على الغيبة. And then على ماذا أيضا؟ So we have غيبة. And then we have خطاب. And then we have على التكلم أو متكلم. قال تعالى لو شئت أهلكتهم من قبل وإياه. لو شئت أهلكتهم من قبل وإياه. إياي إيا ضمير منفصل مبني على السكون في محل Let me clean up a little bit. في محل النصب معطوف على الضمير هم. الواقع مفعول به لفعل أهلكتهم. So it's a مفعول به. لو شئت أهلكتهم من قبل. يا حرف للدلالة على التكلم. يا اسم متكلم مبني على الفتح and then لا محل له من الإعراب. Again, any supposedly domir that you see attached to iya is not considered as domir. It's a harf. However, the same harf can be a domir when you are considering or you are analyzing domir muttasil. But when you are analyzing domir munfasil, with regards to iya, then it's a harf. So I think let me see if we can continue. All right, let's end it here with a hadith from Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Say, in ataytaha iyahu jalasta la idara laka faltamis shay'a. This is a very long hadith concerning a man who wanted to marry a woman, and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him to offer some bridal gift or dowry, if you will. And the man didn't have anything. So he wanted to use a piece of his izar to do that. Right? He wanted to use a piece of his izar to do that. And Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you use your izar as a bridal gift, then you're gonna sit without izar. Means you don't gonna have anything to cover yourself. So faltamis shay'a, go and look for something. And then Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him, even if you're going to get an iron ring, bring it, bring something. Now, the key point is the use of iyahu. In ataytaha iyahu. Look at ataytaha iyahu. Jalasta la idara lah. Now, the who is not the domir. The domir is the iya. The who is a harf. And it's a harf dalala ala al-ghayba. Ala al-ghayba. So let's look at iya. ضمير منفصل مبني على السكون في محل النصب مفعول به. ثان لفعل أعطى مفعول به ثان. That is to say object number 2. Because sometimes in Arabic sentence, you can have object number 1, you can have object number 2. And most of the time, object number 2 comes with words like a'ata, to give, right? To give. Because first you give an object, and then later the object to a person. So for instance, if I say, أعطيت محمدا. Now, I gave Muhammad. Now you can see that Muhammad is the first object. But what did you give Muhammad? Let's say kitaban. أعطيت محمدا كتابا. So this is first مفعول به, and then a book. I gave Muhammad a book. A book becomes مفعول به second. Right? So that's مفعول به ثانٍ. So مفعول به أول ومفعول به ثانٍ. And most of the time the word أعطى calls for that, to give. Right? Or verbs like أعطى, verbs like أرسل, right? There are some verbs like that, like أرسل, to send. You send a book, right? The book is the first object, and then there will be a second object. It can be indirect. أعطى gives direct. The حرف ها, again, حرف دلالة على الغيبة. غيبة is basically, like I said in English, third person pronoun, right? But it's an indication of an absent person or the third person we're talking to. مبني على الضم, as you can see, لا محل له من الإعراب. Now remember this, any harf that is attached to إياك has لا محل له من الإعراب. And again, before we end, إيا is always in محل النصب. As you can see, they are all in محل النصب, right? However, we have a harf that gives us dalala. The harf gives us dalala, indication. It is a marker. It tells us something about the iya, whether the iya is al-mutakallim, whether the iya is the mukhatab, or whether the iya is ghaib or ghaiba, and on and on and on. So we need to be very careful here. And those huruf that are used with iya are also considered dama'ir in the field of what? Dama'ir al-muttasilah. So we need to differentiate that in our Arabic analysis. And as always, they are لا محل له من الإعراب. دمتم بخير. السلام عليكم.